Hello ladies and gentlemen. In this instructional video, you're going to learn about an angle relationship. But before we get to that, you're going to need a few supplies on your desk. You're going to need your note guide, a pencil for taking notes, and several different colored writing utensils, like colored pencils, highlighters, different colored pens. Go ahead and pause this slide until you have all the necessary supplies on your desk. All right, ladies and gentlemen, in this video, you're going to learn about corresponding angles. So look through your note guide and find the spot in the note guide where there's a spot for you to take notes on corresponding angles. And jot down this definition. So corresponding angles are two non-adjacent angles on the same side of the transversal in the same spot or position on the other line. Two non-adjacent angles. So just as a reminder, non-adjacent means they're not directly next to each other. So they're not next door neighbors. But they are on the same side of the transversal in the same spot or position on the other line. Okay, here's something else that's especially important for you to jot down. When parallel lines are cut by a transversal, so when parallel lines are cut by a transversal, corresponding angles are congruent. All right, if you haven't gotten all these notes in your note guide, go ahead and press pause until you have both of these details jotted down. All right, find this example in your note guide for corresponding angles. This is where you're going to need some different colors. So we're going to color code the different pairs of corresponding angles. Okay, a couple things I want to point out. I want to point out that these lines are parallel, and I can tell that by these marks on the lines. So that indicates that line L and line M are indeed parallel to each other. So I'm going to go ahead and pick and grab one of my different colors and start with an angle. I'm going to start with angle 1. And angle 1 corresponds with angle 8 because they are on the same side of the transversal. They're not adjacent, they're not next to each other, and they're in the same position as each other on the other line. So for example, angle 1 is kind of like on the top left here of line N, and angle 8 is in the top left on line N on the other line. So that makes angle 1 and angle 8 corresponding angles. Okay, I'm going to grab another color and I'm going to look at angle 4. And angle 4 corresponds to angle 7. So I'm going to jot that down. Angle 4 and angle 7 are corresponding. Again, these are corresponding because they're on the same side of the transversal, line N, and they're in the same spot or position. So they're in the bottom left of line L or line M. All right, I'm going to grab another color. I'm going to do the same as on the other side of the transversal. So angle 2 corresponds with angle 5. So angle 2 and angle 5 are corresponding angles. And then I'm going to grab my last color and I'm going to show you that angle 3 and angle 6 are corresponding angles. Okay, I'm out of pairs of corresponding angles, but I still have a question left to answer. Corresponding angles, are they congruent, supplementary, or neither? Because these two lines right here are parallel, that makes corresponding angles congruent. They are not supplementary and they're not neither congruent or supplementary. So these pairs of angles are definitely congruent. That's going to be an important piece to remember as we move through this unit. So make sure you have congruent highlighted. All right, find this second diagram. We're going to go ahead and color code the pairs of corresponding angles, but what's important to note here is the lines are not parallel. And I know that because I can picture that there will be an intersection point at some point, but I also know that because the lines are not marked as such. So I'm going to go ahead. I still have corresponding angles in this diagram. I'm going to start with angle 1. Angle 1 corresponds with angle 5 because they're not next to each other, they're not adjacent, and they're on the same position along the transversal as each other. Okay, I'm going to grab another color, and I'm going to look at angle 3 here. That corresponds with angle 7. So angle 3 and 7 are corresponding angles. I'll grab another color, Angle 2 corresponds with angle 6. And let's see here, my last color. Angle 4 corresponds with angle 8. Okay, now I have to answer this question. Are corresponding angles in this diagram congruent, supplementary, or neither? In this particular case, I cannot say they're congruent because the lines are parallel. I can't say that they're supplementary. So these lines are going to be neither congruent or supplementary. Go ahead and make sure you have that marked in your note guide. All right, you guys, your next step. Go ahead and review your notes. Make sure that you're an expert on corresponding angles, because next you're going to teach your group members about corresponding angles. They haven't seen this instructional video, so you are the expert. Be sure to share with them the definition and all the angle properties we just talked about. Making sure to emphasize that it's important to know when the lines are parallel and what that means in terms of the angle properties. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good luck.